What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hopefully good. Another quick video for you there. Article from the Times, a British outlet, from September 13th, 2015. Title: Anti-doping chief tried to bury cheating report. Let's read, shall we? A board member has expressed concern that the agency did not know how effective it was at tackling drug cheats. Interesting. Anyway, here's the article. Shocking emails reveal how the head of the UK's anti-doping watchdog wanted to bury bad news about cheating in athletics in the run-up to the next Olympics. Nicole Sapstead, the UK anti-doping UKAD chief executive, sent the emails to the head of the British Olympic Association after an investigation 6 weeks ago by the Sunday Times and the German broadcaster ARD WDR revealed widespread blood doping in athletics. We'll do everything we can to ensure the whole focus is on the positive news, she wrote. The last thing we want is a story like this detracting from the Rio countdown. In other words, let's cover this up, right? Right. The revelations also sparked a frank email from Justin Turner, QC, a UKAD board member, who expressed concern that the agency did not even know how effective it was at tackling drug cheats, right? So a UKAD board member says that they don't even know how good their testing is. They don't even know whether it sucks or doesn't suck. They don't even know. Somebody does. Turner was also highly critical of the International Association of Athletics Federation's attempts to dismiss this newspaper story as sensationalist following a summary to the investigation. Hey, cat, stop playing. Sorry. Lord Coe. You guys got lords, huh? Over there in the UK. You're fucked. You got lords. No, you're not slaves at all. No, I'm not anti-UK. I just tell the truth. Anyway, the IAAF president accused this newspaper of issuing a declaration of war on my sports. Isn't that what happened to the Russians? Anyway, Turner said, I thought the response of the IAAF was perhaps unfortunate in its tone. I do not like it when organizations worry more about their reputations than their obligations. The emails, obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, raise serious questions about whether the anti-doping authorities were too concerned about bad publicity to take the allegations of widespread doping seriously. So you have allegations of widespread doping in the UK and UKAD attempting to cover it up. UKAD not using adequate testing procedures to be able to even catch these quote-unquote cheaters, right? But isn't that exactly what happened with the so-called Russian doping scandal? Isn't that exactly what happened? Russians were doping, tests were being covered up, and Rusada was suspended for not being effective enough, allegedly, right? That's there were some allegations there, namely the same ones as here, and the whole world just turned to Russia, right? As if they had given them the benefit of the doubt previously ever in the history of mankind. Give me a fucking break. But anyway, you got the same kind of allegations against UKAD. Why isn't WADA suspending UKAD, huh? You could go read this. Well, let's keep reading anyway. Michael Ashenden, one of the world's leading blood testing experts, describes Sapstead's comment as deeply troubling. It would seem the anti-doping authority has morphed into a cheerleader for sport, anxious to quickly remove uncomfortable revelations of doping from the headlines, right? UCAD is a cheerleader for cheaters, basically. It comes as athletes, including British stars Mo Farah and Joe Pavey, I don't know, who went public with their full blood test results, counterclaims by Paula Radcliffe, the women's world record holder in the marathon, that they were blackmailed into doing so. They said they acted voluntarily out of belief that greater transparency is required to combat dopers. Farah said, "It was my own decision. I had nothing to hide and I was happy to clear that up." Pavey, the 10,000 meter European champion, said, "I felt no pressure in publishing my data. I did it in the name of transparency and believe it was the right thing to do." Radcliffe claimed last week that she had been linked to blood doping by Parliamentary Select Committee despite not being named at the hearing. She now faces calls to publish her full blood test results rather than partial results published by Sky News. Right? But fuck it. Have RUSADA test you all. Right? Western authorities went into Russia to test Russian athletes. Have Russia test Western athletes. Right? Wouldn't that be the fair way to do this? Of course it would. She has categorically denied cheating, and her husband publicly asked the World Anti-Doping Agency to state she has no case to answer. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Ascendant and Robin Perisado, another leading expert who analyzed the blood profiles of every Olympic and World Championship medalist in the endurance events between 2001 and 2012, found a third of medals, including 55 golds, were won by athletes who have recorded tests judged to be suspicious at least. Yet the authorities had failed to take any of those medals away, like they did with the Russians, right? The whistleblower who gave the Sunday Times access to the database has asked that no athlete is identified who has not already been banned to ensure the focus remains on the need for reform. Blah, blah, blah. So, with Russia, the push was to get them out of the Olympics. And with UK in this case, the push was to make sure they make it into the Olympics now that the Russians ain't there, right? Sapstead then wrote, "We'll do everything we can to ensure the focus is on the positive news, blah, blah, blah." 2 days later, Turner emailed Sapstead after the IAAF declared it had conducted a thorough 2-day investigation into the claims and dismissed them as sensationalist and confusing. 2 days. They investigated it for 2 days and said it was bullshit. Yeah, right. What else we got here? Apparently supportive of this newspaper's investigation, he added, These are on their face serious claims which directly challenge whether the anti-doping community is effective. We do not know how effective we are, and the questioning of this is appropriate." Right? UCAD is a sham. It's bullshit. UCAD is a sham testing agency that looks to cover up to protect their own athletes, right? But hey, you could say this about any homegrown testing agency. It's just a front. I'm not defending RUSADA here. I'm saying UCAD is no different. Why are the Russians being punished unfairly when British athletes and American athletes, whatever athletes, are being given a pass? Why is Russia being targeted when there's evidence of the same shit happening all over the world? And somebody explain to me, how is it that with UCAD we're finding out about certain fighters, this is boxers now, professional boxers, failing drug tests a year or 2 years later? How does that work? Is it that they were covering those tests up and then pulled them out of their ass, or pull them out of the archive when it was necessary to blackmail somebody or remove them from the sport, like Tyson Fury? Did they manufacture these tests? Did they spike their samples? How is it, and I've questioned this before, how is it that we found out about, who was it, Tepper and Tony Thompson, about their positive drug tests after the fight with David Price. How is it that happened? And another question, how is it that UKAD tested Povetkin for the fight and not David Price? And how is it that David Price was never tested in his career until he complained about the fact, or mentioned it in an interview, that he wasn't tested? Then they tested him for 6 months and apparently stopped testing him. And even though it's such a big deal apparently, and people are dying in the UK, they didn't test Pricey, but they tested the Russian. I mean, the patterns here are clear. This is obvious. It's obvious what's going on here. The bias, how can you sit there and ignore that? How? So, when I get on BDA or in my own videos and I criticize the UK, for example, for stopping fights prematurely, the big fights where the A side is in danger, stopping fights prematurely, but then letting these journeymen that no one gives a fuck about die in a ring, right? When I question that hypocrisy when it comes to the British Board of Boxing or whatever it's called, how is it that I'm being called anti-UK when all I'm doing is questioning the hypocrisy? What does that have to do with your nationality? Or why is that important to me? It's not important to me. I'm talking about the hypocrisy. And the fact that your nation is hypocritical in this instance, that's not my fault. I'm not waving that flag, you are. Right? But people want to call me anti-UK when I said that Churchill, that drunken fool, with, mumbled a couple of words in his drunken stupor and sent 100,000 innocent Germans to their death in one day. Genocide. When I call him an evil person and whatever, I insult him, right? For the piece of shit human being that he was, that doesn't make me anti-UK. To sit there and say these things to me when all I do is tell you the truth you may not like, to sit there and somehow claim that I'm some kind of nationalist here, when I call the drunken genocidal bastard exactly that, and you want to sit there and defend him. I'm not the nationalistic one here, okay? This has nothing to do with nationalism for me. I never waved any fucking flag. Race, creed, or nation, never. All of you do this. All of you are projecting your own nationalism or racism. Same, one and the fucking same. You're trying to project that onto me because there's no virtue in what you do. And you have a problem with somebody exposing that. There's no virtue in your nationalism when it's full of hypocrisy. And all you do is attack the Russian for the same shit that happens in your own country. You're the racist. You're the nationalist. I mean, look, on the surface of it, I don't have a problem with nationalism or racism. The problem I have is with people not speaking the truth. Because once you start speaking the truth, you expose all these ideologies for the bullshit that they are. There's no virtue to nationalism. How is it virtuous to attack Russians for the same shit that the British are doing? There's no virtue in that. But you guys think it's okay because you support your nation and you think that there's virtue in going to war and killing innocent people and dying for no reason. You guys think that that's some kind of a virtue there. When you're sick, twisted, brainwashed, hypocritical individuals who just can't handle the fucking truth. And that is the truth. And that's my video. Can somebody please answer the questions about how it is that we're all upset with Rusada and what the Russians are doing. And yet, the same thing is happening in the UK, and that's okay. Can someone explain to me by means other than nationalism, how this sort of hypocrisy is okay, because I don't understand it. Thank you for listening.